My name is Eric Vicek, and my story begins when I was about 8 years old. Not sure how we found the church, but grew up going to a very traditional church. Traditional church meaning the really uncomfortable wood chairs, wood pews, even though they had padding, you couldn't tell. And hymns, to this day, I still couldn't sing a one. I just remember doing the whole, every head bow, eyes closed, and a voice inside said, that's the thing, you need to walk up there. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. As far as the resentment, the anger, the hurtful things that were said between both parents that were said to me, probably to my brother as well. I don't remember stuff like that. I didn't really key up on that until about middle school. I would guess probably about 6th or 7th grade when I started noticing it. It got to a point to where I couldn't stand being home. On Sundays, I liked to go over to my friend's house that lived on the outskirts of Wright City. Didn't know why, but I always liked being at other people's houses, and they wanted to come over to mine. And looking back, it's like, no, that was my escape. I had to get away from there. I love my parents to death, but I just couldn't take it. My mom has said that I've been angry since she can remember. I remember looking at a home video. I don't know where we were. I probably maybe 2 or 3, I'm guessing, playing miniature golf, and I was having trouble like any kid would, and I got upset, kind of tossed my putter down and just sat there pouting. But older looking at that is, well, why didn't anybody come over there and help me? Obviously, I'm having issues. No one's there to teach me anything. And looking back now, I was like, well, okay, if that's how things went, well, yeah, I can see where the anger happened. It was like that with school growing up. If I got C's, they were always at work, well, you need to get that up to a B. My thought was, what? I'm doing the best I can. C's not good enough for you? Why try? Couldn't fit in. And I think that kind of anger started picking up a little bit more. By the time high school came in, I decided wrestling. Try wrestling, give that a try. Loved it. After freshman year, sophomore year, I loved every minute of it because it became an outlet. Honestly, if I wanted to pick somebody up and throw them on the mat, I could do that. And it's just growing up with anger and not realizing what to do with it. I've always heard, give it over to God. Okay, what does that mean? A lot of things, I've heard my mom say, well, you need to do this, you need to do this. Okay, how? And looking, she couldn't tell me because she was dealing with the same thing. I learned not to trust people, always to keep people at a certain distance. I've done that with my wife up until recently. I'm finally starting to slowly open her because that's a hard thing for me to do. I've heard Pastor Mike say at a service before that you cannot have an open heart to God and close off to everybody else. So from the time probably 8 years old until a couple years ago, my heart was closed off to God because it was closed off to everybody else. As far as where I am today at my new job, my wife has told me she's noticed a big difference. I'm just more active with my kids. When I'm home, I'm actually home. I talked to Pastor Keith, I think a couple weeks ago, and he was talking to me, and he even said, because your face looks so much different. I don't feel angry as much. I don't feel tension at home like I used to. I think the biggest thing for me is, especially church did this series, God's at War. And I think that was another thing God used with me. It's like, now this is pretty much where your anger stems from home. I'm not the center of my family. I am not the center of the universe. I may have one way to deal with things. My wife has a different way. I cannot expect her to do it my way. I think the advice that I would try, at least attempt to give somebody going through the same thing, is to let them know that from personal experience, this is not something you can control. This is not something you can do. You can't handle it. God, on the other hand, can. He's much bigger than that. It's like that poem with the footprint in the sand. First time I read that, I started crying, or almost got emotional because I realized through my whole childhood, God is the one that carried me through that entire time. While I complained about this or get mad at people or doing stuff like that, He was still with me and never left me. As far as not trusting, He's the one person that is constant, the only one you can trust, and the one that's right there with you even when you don't feel it and you don't see it.